at 11.
You're not to have contact with these individuals. You're not to have contact with any minor children. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Tonight on The Edge, is this the first step towards justice? A former boys JV basketball coach at Farmington High facing a judge accused of sexually assaulting two of his players. Fox 2's Jessica Dupnack broke this story last week of this disturbing sexual assault allegation and cover-up that cost the other coaches their jobs.
And now, as Jeremy Tompkins faces a legal battle, Fox 2 has learned another high school basketball coach could end up with the same fate. Fox 2's Jessica Dupnack joining us live with more on today's charges and this new latest bombshell. Jessica.
Let's start with today's charges against Jeremy Tompkins. That was a result of a 15 and 16-year-old, two boys coming forward, former players of Tompkins, who say they were sexually assaulted at his Detroit home. Now, as this has all been unfolding the last couple of weeks, the scope of this investigation has gotten much bigger, not only against Tompkins, but other area basketball coaches exposed as a result of our reporting.
What comes to mind in reference to Mr. Tompkins is that his actions are predatory.
Two teen boys bravely came forward to tell Detroit police what their former coach, 43-year-old Jeremy Tompkins, allegedly did, hosting study parties at his Detroit home, studying turned to sexual assaults. Now the former Farmington High School boys basketball coach is charged with criminal sexual conduct in the 2nd and 4th degree.
You're not to have contact with any minor children. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Tompkins given a $250,000 personal bond and put on house arrest with a tether. Back in 2008, almost the exact same allegations against Tompkins led to CSC charges involving a 17-year-old boy. He was acquitted. He's also a former Detroit firefighter retired for medical reasons. After Fox 2 broke the Farmington High School story this month and the subsequent cover-up by other coaches there who knew about Tompkins' alleged behavior, the tips came flooding in. One tipster led us to another similar investigation at Summit Academy North High School in Huron Township involving well-known boys varsity basketball head coach Mark White. We have confirmed White is currently being investigated for criminal sexual conduct involving multiple female students. We spoke with White's attorney about the shocking allegations.
I believe that making a statement of no comment is the best process to go when law enforcement has not completed its investigation.
Attorney Todd Perkins has represented White in an ongoing lawsuit involving his abrupt firing from his coaching position at River Rouge High School in 2018. During depositions in that case, several accusations of sexual relationships with underage girls came up, and years later, those same claims bubble up at a different school.
Those are allegations. And they're, I'm sure, being investigated by Huron Township Police. And it would be foolhardy for me to go beyond just telling you no comment.
A representative with Summit Academy North Schools released this statement. It said in part, "We were made aware of information that caused us to investigate a situation involving a staff member and a student. Our process is to suspend the staff member in question and contact the authorities promptly. We have done so here." Huron Township Police are handling the investigation, the criminal sexual conduct investigation into Coach Mark White. Now, they did release a short statement to us. What I keyed in on that statement was they're asking anybody else that believes they are a victim of Mark White to call them immediately. Reporting live, Jessica Dupnack on The Edge.
Well, Jessica, great reporting on all of this. Disturbing that there have been these sort of prior allegations that, you know, you wonder were school districts made aware of before they hired the individual.
I think there's a lot more out here. It doesn't take more than a Google search with a couple of these names to figure out that maybe there's been some issues in the past. So absolutely. And it's really tough dealing with these school districts. I got to be honest. They don't want to say much. And as you guys talked about and let it rip there, a lot of statements getting passed around, but no one wants to put their face on camera and take any accountability.
Yeah, that's definitely a difficult spot. We appreciate all your hard work, Jessica. Thank you so much. Well, a Detroit police officer finding himself facing criminal charges after he was caught on camera roughing up a bouncer while on the job.
The charges come nearly a year and a half after the alleged attack.
Another officer had a taser that was in front of me, like kind of towards my face area. So I didn't want to make any moves, so I just rode it out until it was over.
That was Michael Kennebrew talking to Fox 2 back in May of 2022 about the pummeling he took during a routine liquor license inspection at his bar. DeAndre Williams was initially taken off the Vice squad and has since been on administrative duty after that incident. Now he faces charges of assault and battery. The department says it will reevaluate the case now that formal charges have been filed. Meantime, Kennebrew is suing the department for $10 million.
And a former Hamtramck police officer enters a guilty plea for his role in the Detroit towing scandal. Michael Stout of St. Clair Shores was busted for providing sensitive law enforcement information to someone in the towing industry in exchange for money and a car. The former officer faces up to 10 years in prison and a fine of $250,000. Stout will be sentenced in February. And more than 24 hours after a gunman set out on a deadly attack in Lewiston, Maine, his whereabouts are still unknown to law enforcement tonight.
18 people lost their lives in the attacks at a bar and grill and a bowling alley. Tonight, heavily armed police surrounded the suspect's home, but there's no word of any apprehension. The suspect has been identified as 40-year-old Robert Card, a U.S. Army reservist with a history of mental health issues. He's considered armed and dangerous, leaving those in Maine living in fear.
I'm a Christian. I go to church. I believe in the Lord. I believe in Jesus Christ. But why do we have to go through these kind of miserable times?
That man lost his son in the attack at the bar and grill. The shooting injured 13 other people. 2 senior law enforcement sources telling Fox News the suspect planned the shooting well in advance and had several hiding places ready to go.
Well, the UAW stand-up strike over for Ford workers, but the union's job is far from over.
Attention now turning to General Motors and Stellantis trying to get a deal done over there. Fox News' Dave Kinchin has more on where things go from here.
Well, the members doing great. We didn't overcame all the obstacles or whatever out here. We just waiting on the call.
1 down and 2 to go, and that sounds pretty good to strike captain Troy Rollins of the Stellantis-owned Mopar facility in Centerline. Workers here eager to trade in their strike signs in favor of a tentative agreement with Stellantis, as Ford workers did Wednesday night. Picketers at Ford Michigan Assembly in Wayne were sent home following news of an acceptable deal for union negotiators. Now it has to be approved by the rank and file.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're going to go for it. I mean, you know, a lot of the people here, some of the young, that was our issue, like ending those tiers, getting these people up to the same wages that everybody make. You know, can't come in here and work and somebody making $30 an hour, you making $15 an hour. That had to end.
I think from a union standpoint, I think the employees should be really excited about it, really happy. I think they've made great progress. From Ford's viewpoint, great to get back to work, get that Kentucky truck plant up and running, get some of the other plants, moving again, Chicago Assembly.
Alan Amici runs the Center for Automotive Research and says Stellantis and General Motors should follow quickly behind Ford with union deals as the auto industry looks into the future.
The next steps will be interesting. What is the union going to do in terms of unrepresented plants in the southeastern United States? Is there plants that build cars and trucks for Toyota, Hyundai, Honda, Volkswagen, for example? Will be interesting now with the significant wage increases by represented plants, what those next steps are.
The Stellantis and GM deals are expected to mirror aspects of the Ford settlement on cost of living adjustments and 25% wage increases. I asked Union President Shawn Fain about those types of numbers on the first full day of the strike in mid-September. It's when the union was starting out at 46%.
Is there a number you'll come down to, like close to 30, 25, anything like that?
When we get to where we feel we need to be, we can take an agreement to our members, we'll do that. I mean, the thing is, this is up to the membership. They vote.
Meantime, the Detroit Regional Chamber, which represents Metro Detroit businesses, says the strike has to end as quickly as possible. They say the industry has already lost $10 billion so far. Dave Kinchin on The Edge.
Well, another great day. Over 70 at the end of October. we'll take it.
The warmer temperatures will stick around just a tad bit longer. Rich Luderman has our forecast. Hi, Rich.
Hey there, Amy and Roop. Yeah, we have one more day of mild weather. That's tomorrow before a cold front that's over the western Great Lakes crosses the area. Look close. That is snow out over the Dakotas right now. That's not coming our way, but certainly colder air is coming to southeast Michigan. You can see some spotty showers around here, a few showers on the other side of the state as well. Soupy up there at the Mackinac Bridge, that's all fog and low clouds, 55 degrees there. How about the daytime highs today? 74 for us. 75 in Columbus, close to 70 up there for the tip of the thumb. There are the numbers at the airport, 74 and 60. Here are your averages, way above where we should be. Records 83 and 22. Right now, still very mild. A lot of us in the mid-60s, 70 over at City Airport. There's the breeze from the south. That keeps us mild for one more day, but colder air already appearing way up there to our north and west. Watch our next frontal boundary crossing Metro Detroit late Friday night. That sets up for a cooler Saturday. It's going to be dry for the first half of the weekend. It's going to be wet for the second half of the weekend. You'll see it all in the 7-day. Just a few spotty showers tonight, 63 the low. How about that? 75 degrees tomorrow with mostly cloudy skies and a breeze. It does cool off into the weekend, 47 with rain on Sunday. Look at that. Monday Night Football and Halloween. Numbers in the 40s, Amy. A full check at 4 a.m.
Thank you, Rich. Well, it was a shocking murder in Germany that made international headlines. A woman pushed to her death down a ravine at a castle. The suspect was traced back to Metro Detroit, and now 4 months later, the 31-year-old from Lincoln Park has been charged with murder. In Germany, a suspect's name is not released until that person is convicted. The Lincoln Park man is also accused of rape and attempted murder on another woman at the scene who survived the fall.